All right, it's Saturday afternoon. We're gonna mess with the Will It Run farmall cub. We're gonna try to get the fuel bowl to quit leaking, and then we're gonna turn it around and start getting ready to pull the hood off so we can try to get this thing charging again. So just a refresher, this is a 1955 farmall cub that I did a Will It Run video on about a year ago. It was real popular. Got a lot of views on it, so we're going to see if we can get the charging system put together and really get this thing where we can use it, wash it up, maybe take it to some shows this year. So if you look back in here, that's your fuel bowl, and that is a very, very primitive fuel filter. And that bowl kind of just catches all the heavy stuff, and the lighter gasoline stays on top. So if it gets any water or moisture or anything, there's also, if it's still in there, there's a little screen that kind of catches any debris. But all you have to do to take this thing loose, there's a little thumb screw on the bottom, and it won't tight, so that's probably why it was leaking. But as you can see, I mean, it does a fairly good job of catching debris. So now we're going to dig that gasket out of there and put this bowl back on and try to get this thing fired up. So I picked this screen and gasket up from Tractor Supply a while ago, and we're going to try to change them out and get this thing running. All right, there's our old leaking gasket. Our new gasket kind of pushes up into place. And we might have to use the old screen back, which is fine. All right. Then you go ahead and snug that down the best you can by hand. No need to get too crazy on it. Now we'll put some fresh gasoline in it and see if this thing will fire up. All right, now this is kind of a sin, but I'm going to do it anyways. I don't have any ethanol-free gas. So we're going to put just a splash of good old E10 in it, because it was cheap. And we'll put the ethanol-free in it once we get finished up. And I'm going to show y'all kind of how this fuel bowl works. because I always think it's kind of interesting to watch. So I'm going to step around the tractor. Y'all watch this fuel bowl, and you can watch it fill up with fuel. All right, we're ready to see if this tractor will run. But in all seriousness, you do need to pay attention when you're cranking these old tractors. Most of them don't have a neutral safety switch or anything like that. You need to be 100% sure this tractor is in neutral before you go to start it. 100%. And if you walk away and come back, you need to check it again, because it will run over you and it will kill you. Especially if you're hand cranking, because it will run over you and it will kill you. Now we know this tractor's in neutral. We don't have any gasoline leaks. We're going to cut the ignition on, choke it, give it just a tiny bit of throttle. That's pretty good, I'd say. She's a little cold, Matthew. All right, she fired right up. That's pretty good. That's the only reason I don't want to change this thing over to 12 volts, because it's like it just cranks so good, and it's like that every time, even when it's cold outside. So I'm planning one night this week, if not next Saturday, I'm going to pull the sheet metal off this tractor and get the generator off and start checking it. Try to figure out what it needs to get this thing charging again. So, it's Tuesday afternoon. We're getting back on the farmall cub. It's too hot with a jacket and too cold with a jacket. That tells you something about the weather here in North Carolina. It's just not fun. We're going to start by popping this grill off and losing all the hardware so we can't put it back together. All right, grill's off. And of course, more mice behind the radiator. Next thing I'm going to do is unhook the wires for the headlights and slip them through the grommets. International really should have figured out a way to put a tilt on this hood or separate it from the gas tank, because they knew you was going to be working on this thing. And before any of y'all say, well, you should have converted this thing to 12 volts. Well, no, I'm not going to do that, because you seen earlier in the video how good this thing cranked. We're not going to change anything now. It's worked good for, I don't know, 70 years. Let's leave it alone. There's nothing wrong with the way this thing starts. It starts like a 6-volt farmall. Still got antifreeze in it. That's a good start. I think all we got is 2 screws and a fuel line, and we'll have this hood off. That should be free. Oh yeah, we got a wiring harness we got to remove. But it ain't nothing to it. So it just lays right down out the way. We can undo that fuel line. Pop this hood off. Alright, so I didn't bother showing y'all how to take that fuel line loose because it's an absolute pain to get to, and I couldn't get the camera in there to show you. We're just going to ease this hood off. Alright, there we go, and here we are at the generator. What I really need is a shorter pair of pliers. So, it's Saturday, about after lunchtime, getting back on the farmall cub. It's been about a week. I come out here and pedaled with it one night, got a few things like I wanted it, and I really couldn't come to any conclusion on this generator, on this tractor. So I tried the factory manual, going through it, kind of like how I got this tractor running. I tried energizing the motor. I've tried testing. I've tried a bunch of stuff. Couldn't ever get to charge. So every once in a while you have to break down, take it to somebody. Well, luckily I took it to somebody that knew what they were doing. Local starter shop. Took it to them. Tore it apart. Cleaned the two halves where everything grounds together. And the thing was charging like 7.5 volts. So, we're going to clean some grounds before we put it all back together. So I'm going to shine up here where the voltage regulator grounds, which I had already done that. I'm probably going to just shine up here just to be sure. Both sides of this bracket. And then where all this bolts together right here. And then hopefully we'll have a charging farmall cub. Now that starter shop charged me $30 to clean that generator, which it's a good learning experience. I could have done it myself, but if you don't know where your problem lies, you kind of just throw money. We could have put a new generator on it, and yeah, it'd probably charge, but we'd have spent a bunch of money. You know, they saved me a bunch of money by just saying, hey, this thing's rusty. You need to clean this thing up. And I was like, okay, we'll go with that. But they fixed it for $30. They had it less than half a day. So, yeah, we'll get this thing back together and see if it charges. All right, that made quick work of that. Look how that shined up right there. Glad I have this nice shop out of the wind. All right, that's shined up. I'm gonna step up to the truck, grab the generator, and we'll pop that on, get the belt tightened up, and then put the regulator on. So originally it had like some kind of insulator to keep this thing from arcing against this little protective shield. But I'm gonna just take the card they put my number on, and put it in there like that. All right, my mountain surfaces are shined up, so I'm gonna put this thing on the bracket. Like my buddy Brian says, good time of year to lose a jacket. Too hot with one, too cold without one. We'll try again. Now the actual issue we had was where this case bolts together. So like right here and right here, it was not grounded. So they cleaned that real good on both ends and everything went to charging. So on your Cub, if you have charging issues and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, you need to make sure 100% this generator is grounded before you spend a dime. Like a really good ground, really, really good ground. A generator belt doesn't have to be terribly tight. All this stuff's old. You don't want to wear out any extra bearings in your water pump or your, well, I guess that's not the water pump, but in your fan pulley or in your generator itself. So we're just going to pull it down snug. The belt won't come off and it ain't going to slip. And we'll tighten them bolts down. All right, we're going to hook up our first connector to our voltage regulator. It's going to be the field connector right here, and it goes to your first tab that's labeled F on your voltage regulator. Then this wire is going to go to the battery terminal and on the regulator, and there's one more. I can't see it till I get it loose. Now the proper way to do this would probably be to label it as you take it apart. But the way these wires laid on my tractor, there just won't no mistaking which one goes where. That terminal's marked L. Don't know exactly what that's for. Maybe load. This one's labeled generator. And it goes to the other terminal on the generator. Alright, I think I'm going to step up to the garage and get me 2 new 1/4 bolts to bolt this thing down. And we'll fire it up, see if it charges. Alright, got 2 new 1/4 bolts. Alright, battery's hooked up. Let's see if it charges. Should have just enough gas to crank it. Neutral. Make sure it's in neutral. I call that a great success. The I think it's a 55 or 52, one or the other, farmall Cub is charging. We're in the home stretch now. I think next weekend we're going to wash it up, put the hood back on it, and might even rub a little linseed oil on this thing, try to get a little shine back to it for tractor show season. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I don't know how much it'll help. Maybe at least it'll be entertaining. Like I said, if you don't know about this stuff, you really, it's really hard to teach anybody. But I do want to at least encourage you to try to work on stuff yourself, because that's the only way you're going to learn. Everybody thinks stuff has to be built in a big fancy shop somewhere because of TV. But here we are in a little metal pole barn getting this farmall Cub charging again. And we build engines right there in the garage. And like last year, that step side, we built it right in Rock Customs driveway. So, you don't have to have a big shop to fix your stuff and enjoy working on your stuff. You can do it all at home with very few hand tools. I don't know if you can see right here, there's only about 6 tools we used on this whole job. So yeah, just be sure to keep that in mind. You don't have to be a big fancy, you know, shop and all this. That stuff's nice, but you can do this at home by yourself with a little patience and with a little help from your friends that know about stuff. If you're in Alamance County, you need to go check out Alamance Starter, because they're the ones that helped me out on this generator. They cut me a good deal because it was just a simple repair. But be sure to like and subscribe and check in for some more videos soon.